Welcome to my channel to listen to sinister stories. Once upon a time in a small, quaint town, there stood a restaurant named Le Manoir Macabre, known for its delectable cuisine and unique ambience. Little did the townsfolk know, behind its grand façade lay a horrifying secret one that would send shivers down their spines. Le Manoir Macabre was secluded on the outskirts of town, perched ominously atop a hill. It was a place where darkness danced with hungry curiosity, and unspoken rumors whispered through the air. The restaurant's owner, Victor Leblanc, was a mysterious figure, an enigma within the gastronomic world. Word had spread of Victor's culinary prowess and his uncanny ability to create tantalizing flavors that entranced even the most discerning palates. However, what made Le Manoir Macabre truly infamous was the whispered tale of the forbidden ingredient in his dishes, the flesh of the dead. A young investigative journalist named Emily had heard the rumors and felt an insatiable curiosity burn within her. She decided to expose the truth hidden within the walls of Le Manoir Macabre. Armed with determination, she ventured into the restaurant, posing as an ordinary diner. As Emily entered, the unsettling atmosphere immediately engulfed her senses. The flickering candlelight seemed sinister, casting eerie shadows upon the dining area. The walls were adorned with macabre artwork, as if to reflect the twisted nature of the establishment. Victor Leblanc greeted Emily with an air of politeness and offered her a table by the window. Feeling a chill run down her spine, Emily couldn't help but suspect that he knew more about her true intentions than he let on. She glanced around and noticed the patrons all seemingly oblivious to the ghastly nature lurking in the kitchen. Emily discreetly began questioning the staff, trying to piece together the puzzle. The head chef, Monsieur Dupont, became her primary target. Late one night, she followed him stealthily into the depths of the restaurant, where the horrifying truth awaited her. In a dimly lit room, she stumbled upon a shocking scene. A grisly assortment of body parts lay neatly on stainless steel tables, while a cauldron simmered ominously in the corner. The stench of decay permeated the air, and Emily's stomach churned uncontrollably. Paralyzed with dread, she watched as Monsieur Dupont skillfully prepared a dish, his hands coated in blood. Emily couldn't bear the sight. She hid in the shadows, fearing she would become the next ingredient in their sordid menu. With trembling hands, she recorded every detail, determined to expose the truth to the world. But just as she thought she had gathered enough evidence, she inadvertently knocked over a small tray, alerting Monsieur Dupont to her presence. In that bone-chilling instant, Emily found herself face to face with the monstrous chef. His eyes glinted with madness as he lunged towards her. An expression of twisted satisfaction etched on his face. She desperately fought back, narrowly escaping his clutches as she raced towards the exit. Emily emerged into the cool night air, gasping for breath. She knew she had witnessed something that stretched far beyond the realm of nightmares. Though shaken to her core, she vowed to expose Le Manoir Macabre and put an end to its sinister practices. The following day, her article hit the front page of every newspaper, capturing the attention of the entire town. Chaos ensued as the townsfolk rose against Victor Leblanc and his grotesque creation. The authorities swiftly shut down Le Manoir Macabre, and Monsieur Dupont was arrested for his unspeakable crimes. As for Victor Leblanc, he vanished into thin air, leaving nothing but whispered legends behind. The once charming restaurant became a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface. To this day, the legend of Le Manoir Macabre sends chills down the spines of those who dare speak its name. And as the townsfolk pass the abandoned building, they can't help but wonder if the secrets engraved within those walls will ever truly fade away. When I was 25, I embarked on a solitary journey to Rio de Janeiro, drawn by the presence of my favorite DJ performing that weekend. Having traveled alone on multiple occasions without any issues, I booked a comfortable Airbnb a little outside the city. The Airbnb appeared sleek and modern with its own compact one-floor house. Upon my arrival on Friday, I settled in, had dinner, and made my way to the rooftop venue where the DJ would perform. The first day and night went smoothly, and I even made some new acquaintances named James, Ethan, and Jess at the rooftop. Ethan and Jess were a couple, while James seemed to be tagging along. The following day, we explored various sites together, such as the awe-inspiring Christ Redeemer and Sugarloaf Mountain before spending time on the breathtaking beaches. Regrettably, James, Ethan, and Jess had already purchased tickets for another show that evening, which I couldn't attend. Thus, I found myself back into the realm of solo exploration. Nonetheless, I managed to keep myself occupied, and when hunger struck, I wandered back towards the outskirts of the city in search of sustenance. Along the way, I stumbled upon a restaurant that seemed reasonably priced and where English seemed to be spoken by some of the staff. While the dining space was dimly lit and elongated, with only a few occupied tables, I decided to give it a try. As I entered, I noticed a man, possibly in his 50s, seated at a nearby table. Speculating if he too were a tourist, we appeared to be the only individuals dining alone. Upon conversing with the server, I determined that he spoke English and placed my order. Curiously, the man at the adjacent table seemed to watch my interaction with the server intently. An eerie feeling settled upon me. Abruptly, the man initiated a conversation with me, remarking that my Portuguese sounded impressive and attempting to teach me the language. His intentions may have been intended as charming, but the encounter felt uncomfortable and chilling. I tried to keep my focus on my phone, feigning distraction. Yet he persisted in speaking to me both in English and Portuguese. To avoid causing awkwardness, I reluctantly engaged in conversation, partly responding to his inquiries about my origins, purpose of visit, and activities thus far. To maintain a sense of safety, I falsely claimed to be staying with a friend. However, unease gripped me when he made inappropriate comments about my voice when conversing in Portuguese. My hope for his departure dwindled as I observed the waiter bringing him his meal. Meanwhile, my food arrived, promptly a pork stew dish. I forced a polite response when he inquired about the taste, relieved that he conversed less as he focused on his own meal. Hesitant to prolong the encounter any further, I swiftly requested the bill, my desire to distance myself from this man intensifying. Oddly, he asked for the bill right after me, despite not yet finishing his meal. His behavior struck me as both annoying and peculiar. Subsequently, I hurriedly paid, exited the restaurant, and began walking toward my airbag. Nightfall had descended, casting a somber ambiance upon the streets, which were noticeably less animated. After a while, I reached an intersection and paused to wait for the pedestrian signal. In that brief moment, I noticed the man from the restaurant across the street, surreptitiously observing me. As soon as he realized I had noticed him, he averted his gaze in the opposite direction. Although it seemed improbable, considering the vastness of the city, the possibility that he was heading in the same direction unnerved me. Throughout my journey back, I kept glancing over my shoulder to detect any signs of his presence, but he remained absent. Finally, I arrived at the Airbnb, approaching the front door with a sense of cautious vigilance. Glancing around one last time, I spotted the man standing at the corner of the intersection, a chilling stare fixed upon me. In that moment, my heart sank. I knew he was following me. Hastily, I entered the house, locked the door, and swiftly closed all the blinds, realizing that he now knew where I was staying. Panic consumed me as I dialed the emergency services, struggling to explain, in broken Portuguese, the home invasion I had encountered. To my immense relief, the police arrived within minutes, and I emerged from my hiding spot behind a nearby bush, anxiously awaiting their intervention. Communication was challenging, but one of the police officers possessed basic knowledge of English, enabling me to convey the incident regarding the open window and the previous stalking encounter. The police proceeded to enter the house, shouting incomprehensible commands. The instant I witnessed them leading the man from the restaurant away in handcuffs, a myriad of emotions surged within me, a concoction of disbelief, relief, and sheer horror. Imagining the sinister possibilities had I not alerted the authorities or unwittingly walked into the room where he likely had haunted my thoughts. I was grateful for his carelessness in leaving the window ajar, exposing his ill intentions. I heeded my father's advice, ensuring all the windows were locked, realizing too late the importance of taking precautions against unforeseen danger. The following day, I departed from Brazil and have not returned since. Months had passed, and it was the holiday season. With most of my friends away, I sought a part-time job to supplement my finances. After a seemingly endless wait, I received a call from a nearby restaurant inviting me for a trial. Given my previous experience as a waiter, I accepted the opportunity, setting aside my reservations about the restaurant's eerie ambiance. The establishment exuded an unsettling aura, cramped, dimly illuminated, and periodically permeated by an unpalatable stench. It was not a place I would typically choose, but necessity motivated me to overlook these discomforts, with the assurance that it would be a temporary endeavor until college resumed. One fateful night, around 10 p.m., I found myself alone outside, tidying the cutlery, awaiting the departure of the final table. The patrons seated at this table consisted of 4 burly individuals, their appearances rugged enough to prompt a mistaken assumption of homelessness. Half an hour elapsed before they finally rose from their seats, and I greeted one of them with a customary smile as he approached the register to settle the bill. That would be $42.50 in total, I informed him. With an ostentatious grin, he promptly handed over a bundle of crumpled banknotes, his eyes brimming with suggestive intent. Aware of the impending pickup line, I mentally prepared myself, determined to repel any advances. "Are you doing anything tonight, cutie?" he drawled, edging closer to the register. "Thank you, and have a good night," I responded, asserting a firm boundary. Unperturbed, he chuckled and exited the premises, offering murmurs under his breath as he departed. As soon as he disappeared from my view, I swiftly cleared the tables, busied myself with cleaning tasks, and once I changed out of my staff uniform, a sense of relief washed over me as I bid farewell to the last kitchen hand. Stepping out into the enveloping darkness of the night, I began my routine walk home, opting to save on gas. The proximity of my house, just a few blocks away, offered a false sense of security. Little did I know that this routine journey would soon turn into a terrifying ordeal. After approximately 5 minutes of walking, a piercing whistle shattered the silence, jolting me out of my thoughts. I turned my gaze toward the source of the sound and was instantly consumed by fear. To my dismay, it was the same man I had encountered at the restaurant. He stood on the opposite side of the street, signaling me to approach him with a sinister grin etched across his face. A moment of hesitation gripped me, as if my instincts knew something was amiss. It was in that moment that my fight or flight response kicked in, urging me to quicken my pace. However, my house remained a daunting 10 minutes away, and with each passing step, I could sense the man closing in on me. Dread consumed me as chilling thoughts raced through my mind. I was well aware that this encounter could have dire consequences. Desperation fueled my actions, and I turned sharply around a corner, breaking into an all-out sprint along the dimly lit footpath. Tears welled up in my eyes as I heard his menacing footsteps trailing mere inches behind me. Fear prevented me from glancing back to confront the imminent danger. Suddenly, a vice-like grip yanked me backwards, nearly wrenching my shoulder from its socket. My heart pounded mercilessly within my chest as I turned to face the man. His face contorted with rage, his eyes bloodshot, and his once ghastly grin now twisted into a furious mask. With a finger pressed against his lips, he whispered a chilling threat, warning me not to scream or suffer the consequences of his blade. At that moment, I resigned myself to a grim fate when an unexpected surge of defiance ignited within me. Summoning every ounce of strength and courage, I clawed ferociously at his face, my nails gouging deep into his eyes. A painful cry tore through the air as he recoiled, clutching his mutilated face in agony. Seizing the opportunity, I sprinted for my life, fleeing without a second glance. Exhaustion eventually overcame me as I stumbled back into the safety of my flat. Collapsing to the ground, a tumult of emotions overwhelmed me, and tears streamed down my face. Alarmed by the commotion, my roommates rushed downstairs to assess the situation and ensure my well-being. Once settled on a couch, I recounted the harrowing encounter to them. Shock painted their faces, mixed with relief that I had managed to escape unscathed. The following day, I made the difficult decision to resign from my position at the restaurant. Although the owners were kind and the job was bearable, the specter of that man lurking in the shadows was an insurmountable terror. I redirected my focus toward college and gradually began to heal from the traumatic incident. Despite my progress and recovery, haunting nightmares occasionally plagued my sleep, prompting chilling reflections on what might have unfolded had I not fought back against the man's menacing advances. The experience taught me the importance of remaining vigilant and that danger can lurk in the most unexpected corners.